12 of our Mills Park Middle School students fight this disease each and every day, often without anyone else knowing the strength it takes to do so. We have some of them here to share their story. If you could say your name and what age you were diagnosed with type 1 diabetes.
My name's Aiden, and I was diagnosed at 15 months old.
My name's Lane, and I was diagnosed at 9 years old.
My name's Owen, I was diagnosed when I was 7.
My name's Gabby, and I was diagnosed when I was 20 months old.
Do any of you remember anything about that day, like what it meant, or if you have any questions, anything that scared you?
I was scared because right when they told us what was wrong, my mom just started crying, and I got really scared because I didn't know what was going on, and I've only saw one assembly in school about it. So I was just really confused, and when I heard that I had to go to the hospital, that made me even more scared.
Aiden, do you remember any part of a story your parents told you since you were so young?
My parents always told me that I was going to the bathroom a lot and I was drinking a lot of water, and I was just having a lot of symptoms that you have when you're sick. So my dad thought I was just sick, so they took me to the doctor, and they just gave me this medicine called penicillin, which I later found out I was allergic to. But either way, the medicine didn't help, so we went to urgent care again, and they told me we had to go to the hospital because I had type 1 diabetes, and I was there for 4 days.
What do you all have to do every day to take care of yourself?
Check our blood sugar.
Do insulin too.
Well, when you check your blood sugar, you use something like this
And
to
that
prick
has
your
a
finger.
needle in it?
Yes, I can actually show you. It has a needle called a lancet. It's really tiny, but we have to do it about 7 times a day. And then you put a strip like this into your meter, and then you prick your finger, and you get blood, and the strip just draws your blood, and you can read it on here.
Okay, so then that meter gives you a number. And what does the number mean? If your number were high or low, what's the number you want it to be at?
A range is about 120 to about 115.
My range is about 80 to 125.
I want to be like 115. Anything higher or lower, you just read it.
So what does it mean if you're too high, if your blood sugar is high? How do you feel?
I get really thirsty, and I use the bathroom a lot, and I also every now and then I'll get really, really tired and fatigued.
I have a story of when I was in 3rd grade. I actually had to go home because I was so high. I was in the 400s or 500s, and I was very sick and nauseous, and I had to be out of school for a few days.
And what happens, Gabriella, if you're really low?
You can feel really sick or dizzy and really tired. You could get shaky or a headache.
You could also pass out if it gets low enough for that low.
And if you did pass out, what would have to happen?
We would have to use something called a glucagon. So what you do is you take off the little cap and you squirt the liquid from here into this, and you shake it up, and then you draw it back either halfway or full depending on what your doctor says, and then you inject it into someone injects it into you, and you get a new one every once a month or something like that.
Okay, and you all wouldn't be able to inject that into yourselves because you're only injecting this if you're unconscious, passed out.
Yeah. So
on
we
the
would have
route.
to have someone else know how to do it. So my mom normally teaches my coaches at gymnastics and my friends and parents if I'm at their house overnight.
Is there anything that you want other people to know about diabetes? Anything that scares you about diabetes?
It's not contagious. A lot of people ask if it's contagious or not, and it also, we don't have to be heavy or big to have diabetes.
Well, the kind of diabetes we have is type 1, and type 1 is where we haven't really figured out what has happened yet, and that's why we're raising money for JDRF to figure out why it's caused and how to find a cure. But I'm sorry, what was the question? I'm sorry, I completely forgot. Okay.
We're doing good.
Why is a cure important to all of you? Why should we raise money? Why do you want other students to help you?
Oh yeah, I remember what I was gonna say. Yeah, so the kind we have is type 1, and the kind where you can actually, there's a cure for type 2. You actually have to go on a diet, and it's like two pretty much completely different things.
And we want a cure because, like, diabetes is hard. You gotta keep up with it. It's life-threatening. You could pass out at any time. And if you do too much insulin, something bad can happen. If you do too little insulin, and you could die from it.
What is the strangest, I think we might have covered this, but what is the strangest thing anybody has ever asked you about diabetes?
It's contagious.
Can you eat that?
Okay, is there stuff you can't eat?
Yeah, you can eat
You
anything.
can eat anything you want.
Anything any other person can eat.
Yeah, it depends on what your blood sugar is. Pretty much if your blood sugar is good and you're good at keeping your blood sugar, you can eat whatever you want.
And I just really hate when people ask, like, or say, you can't come to my party, right? Because, you know, you have diabetes. Like, we can go to any event and we can go to any party and eat anything that we want as long as we do insulin for it.
Do you think there's anything you miss out on because of diabetes? Anything you have to do differently that other kids don't because you have diabetes?
Stop and check a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, like during when, maybe?
Like
Sports.
when you're doing a lot of exercise and you're hanging out with your friends.
And when your blood sugar is low or high, it can also affect your performance in school or in a sport that you play.
So if you're high sometimes, is it hard to concentrate and focus on what you're doing? Maybe if you're taking a test?
Especially if you're low, too, because you get really dizzy.
And you can't really see, I mean, it's hard to explain, but, like, you don't really know what's real and what's not. Like, you can't tell, wait, what, did that just happen? It's hallucination.